Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Zed. Today we're going to be talking about Iterum Therapeutics. Now, I did talk about Iterum before. You'll find my previous video in the description below, but today we're bringing new pieces of due diligence, technical analysis, what I think about this stock, and hopefully some analyst recommendations if we can get our hands on it. So without further ado, let's jump right into this one. So, Iterum Therapeutics. So first off, I do want to take a look into the latest news before going on and talking a little bit about the CEO. So Iterum Therapeutics, the last PR we received was relating towards the regulatory updates, and this was relating towards the FDA. So no details with respect to the deficiencies were disclosed by the FDA. Basically, the FDA said, hey, there's deficiencies with this in this notification, and the letter further states that the notification does not reflect a final decision on the information under review. In a letter to the company dated on January 21st, 2021, the FDA had assigned a PDUFA goal date of July 25th, 2021 for completion of its review for the NDA. So basically, in a nutshell, I'll go through the presentation and explain you what ITRM is, but basically, in a nutshell, they have a product, a drug, and they have applied for a PDUFA, and FDA has kind of signaled out to the company and said, hey, there's a bit of deficiencies they identified here. For sulopenem, the agency has identified deficiencies that preclude the continuation of the discussion of labeling and post-marketing requirements commitments at this time. So basically, that does sound as a rejection a bit, but in the same way, they're being hopeful that by the July 25th, they'll be able to go towards that. They mention, while they're disappointed in the news, they continue to believe in potential to help address the growing challenge of antibiotic resistances. So that's all good, but let's take a quick look into some of their entire pipeline, just to get a perspective into how much that would affect them probably. So on the pipeline itself, you're able to see that they have micro-MIT population, whether it's in cunulin, non-susceptible population, susceptible population, and combined, you're able to see that they have sulopenem. This is the one they're doing the PDUFA for, and then you got it compared to others seems to be a bit better because you're looking into around 62.6% for overall response for the cunulin non-susceptible population compared to 36% and 37.4%. Now, in terms of cunulin susceptible population, overall response, it is on par with the second one here, looking 66.8% to 78.6%. So it is around 10% lower, and in terms of the combined, it comes almost taking a look closer to the overall response being 76 or 65.6 to 67.9%. All in all, their pipeline is basically divided into 5. This one was the one that had a lot of hope relating to the potential NDA approval, but you still have different products, including, for instance, the third one here. I'm not sure why they try to make them very hard names, but PIV, Meclianum, potential FDA or potential NDA filing on the second half of 2021. And the last one here, the CU2I, you're looking into a potential NDA filing in the second half of 2021. And all these approvals are anticipated in the second half of 2022 and beyond, for the exception of the one that has the date or the potential date on July 25th, 2021. We're able to see a bit more as well into, the potential FDA approval was in the quarter 3 2021. I'm not sure if they're going to actually get that. We're going to talk about that at the very end. But first off, let's take a look into Corey and Fishman, the CEO of ITRM. And so Corey Fishman has served as the CEO since late 2015, when the company was formed. From 2010 to 2015, Mr. Fishman served as the CFO and the Chief Operating Officer of Iterum Therapeutics Incorporation, overseeing all aspects of financing and administration, manufacturing, business development, strategy, international operation, portfolio optimization. While at Durata, he raised substantial capital, including a successful IPO and a secondary public offering. Mr. Fishman also led negotiations and sale of the company to Activities PLC. Prior to Durata, Mr. Fishman served as a CFO of Janiak Pharmaceuticals, a Warburg Pincus company, from 2008 to 2010. From 2002 to 2008, Mr. Fishman served in a leadership role in MedPoint Healthcare Incorporation, a private equity-backed specialty pharmaceutical company, and became the CFO in 2006. Mr. Fishman had the responsibility for finance and administration, portfolio optimization, manufacturing, strategy, and business development. He led the development and implementation of a new strategic plan which involved raising capital, restructuring debt, accelerating the growth of existing commercial assets, and developing multiple line extensions to enhance future value. Accumulating in the successful sales of the company to Meda AB from 1994 to 2002, Mr. Fishman held roles of increasing responsibility in both mid-size and large pharma. Mr. Fishman was also previously on the board of Momenta Pharmaceuticals, on the Nasdaq MNTA, acquired by Johnson & Johnson, and Biospecifics Technology Corporation, BSTC, acquired by Endo International PLC. Mr. Fishman holds a BA in economics from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign and MSM in finance and from the Granite School of Management at Purdue University. And so we get a bit of a view on who the CEO is. Now, a bit towards the institutional buyers. Institutional buyers seem to be a bit mixed. So you're looking into the last big purchase probably would have been on the 13th of July at around 2,000 shares, and I'm really playing loosely with the big purchase because really when you look back into that would be back in May, where you had hundreds of thousands of shares being added. June and July has been very, very quiet for this one. The last one was actually on the 15th of July on Focus Wealth Management, where they basically increased their shares by 33%, reporting currently 100,000 shares at an average of 1.86. In terms of insiders, there's nothing much going on other than awards being given on June, or month of June. And in terms of the shareholder interest, the short volume ratios and the short volumes, you're able to see that these ones are sitting closer to around 20%. So 25 to 20%. Now currently, the short flow is around 2%. So you get to see there's a massive difference between that 20% and the 2%, almost 10 times a day. So that might mean that the shorts have been increasing in volume generally, but the short float still remains 207, but this is reported periodically, not daily. But the one where the short volume is reported daily. So you might actually see a hike in terms of the short ratio or the short float. Let's move on towards technical analysis, but before doing so, if you'd like to see more content like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button on the bottom right corner and turn the bell notification button. If you enjoyed this video so far, make sure to drop a like to this video as well. In the description, you'll find our Discord server, which is totally free. We're just a bunch of people there that are very wholesome in the trading floor that are trying to help one another and not trying to upsell you in anything. Let's move on towards technical analysis now. In terms of a technical analysis, starting off with the 1 month, 1 day perspective, you're starting to look that the moving averages are a bit mixed, in that the 30 EMA is above the 10 SMA, and that's bearish. And currently the 50 SMA is above the 200 SMA, which is bullish, but the price point is below both the 50 SMA and the 200 SMA, making that point bearish. In terms of the 80X, you're seeing that it's kind of getting a retraction from around 44, 45, almost 50, down to 35, 55, suggesting that there was a very strong bullish movement and now has retracted to perhaps even just an accumulation. Volume percent R, which is very similar to the RSI, also known as the Relative Strength Index, is highly oversold, which basically means that in terms of an equilibrium established, you would have more buyers coming in. More buyers usually means a higher price point. In terms of the MACD, this one is curving upwards. It really does show you that perhaps later on in the week, you most likely will be getting in a bullish reversal if this actually does play nicely. So it will be testing it in the next few days as you get to see it's approaching the zero in from the bottom, which is a very positive thing to do. Momentum is around negative 1.14, but there hasn't been much change in momentum in the last few days, signaling in more of a continuation to this accumulation point. In terms of the stochastic fast and stochastic slow, both are suggesting this might actually be a bottom to buy in as you get to see the stochastic slow, stochastic fast especially identifies this one as perhaps a lower point to buy in for a bounce. In terms of the ITRM moving average bands, this one is both moving average bands, the Bollinger Bands and the moving average bands are dropping downwards. So this is basically a momentum indicator that are showing you that it's more of a negative trend. So it will be very interesting to see, but this one is expecting to trade between 262 on the Bollinger Band at the top and 69 cents on the bottom. In terms of Fibonacci retracements, and this is a short-term indicator for used by high-frequency traders, he's looking at a support at the 105, 143 as a resistance, 173, 203, 246, and $3. In terms of basically price line actions for significant critical supports, you're looking at one at the $1.11. Hopefully it doesn't break below there. 102, and I think the break it or make it would be the 94 cents. Below there, you'll find one at 86 cents, one at 77 cents, and one down at 64 cents, followed by 53 cents. But hopefully we're not going to go there. In terms of resistances, there is a few. So currently the 118 is a very strong resistance, followed by that by the 127 as another resistance, going to 135, and then upwards to around, let's say 158, going to 171, and then upwards to around 196, going towards closer to 214, and then 225, 251, and then going to 274, $3. Now, in terms of analyst recommendations, the only one that there is was 7 months ago with a price target of 315, a buy position from this person with a success rate of 51% and an average return of around 31%. Comes to the question, Ed, what do you think about this one? Well, I did think about it a lot, and I really think initially when I saw that, I saw, hey, you know, they had deficiencies in there. I think that they will be able to provide some communication between them and the company and get it going towards that July 25th date. But I want to be realistic here. If that was the case, we probably would have heard from the company themselves signaling in that the FDA has come back with questions and we answered it and we're on track, because that would really help the stock price. But currently, that hasn't happened. So that really worries me that the July 25th will probably not be granted with the PDUFA, and the goal date will probably be pushed later. And so really, I wish I can tell you more bullish news, but I think at this point we're coming in towards a storm where it's going to be a disappointment relating towards the July 25th. So my recommendations is be very careful with your stop limits because it might be a drop. What do you think about this ticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like, and have a wonderful day. Now, if you're still here on this video, make sure to drop down below and join our Discord. We have a lot of different things going on, including, for instance, members that gives picks for free. It's not pump and dumps, we just things we think about, swings, etc. We also have really exciting bots. You can actually use those ones. For instance, we're just testing out this bot, for instance, that gives you Fibonacci resistance points, activities, etc. And we have a bunch of free things, totally free. We run on tips here, and you can ask me questions, suggest stocks, etc. It's a really nice community that has been growing up very fast at a very good rate, and it's totally free. If you would like to join that one, feel free to do so in the description below, and have a wonderful day.